not unto death. Some folk are afraid to go to sleep because they wonder the enemy tell them if you go to sleep, you ain't going to wake up. Only because he wants to set fear in your heart. But you got to know how to rebuke the devil and keep on going. You got to let the devil know you got greater power. Don't live your life in fear, trying to figure out and wonder. When God have you covered, he got you covered. When God's hand is upon you, his hand is upon you. It doesn't matter how many adversaries and how many enemies come. Only thing you need to do is ask God, God, strengthen my hands. In fact, why don't you take out 5 seconds and just say, God, strengthen my hands. Nehemiah said, you made everybody afraid, and their hands were weakened, that they didn't want to do much. But verse 15, and I'm going to have to skip the acts and close. So the wall was finished. 16, and it came to pass that when all our enemies heard thereof, and all of the heathen that were about us saw these things, they were much cast down in their own eyes, for they perceived that this work was wrought of God. And beloved, that's all God really wants to get to, because he'll make things difficult in your life so that he only can get the glory. That's why some of your bills exceed your income, because you need to know that he is a Jehovah Jireh. If it was left up to your resume and where you work, you probably wouldn't regard God at any time. But when you don't have enough, what God says, now listen, in order for you to get what you need, you got to trust in me. I am the supplier of your need. In fact, I give you all of your blessings. Do I have some witnesses in here? God really wants to get glory out of your life. And what I'm saying is that when you go through struggle and trials and tribulation and oppositions and strongholds, only thing God want to do is bring you to an end result that the enemy, even if the enemy testify, the enemy has to say that God is still in control of your life. And guess what? Whenever you start working for God, you're going to have some enemies. See, some of you cool and collective right now because you ain't doing much other than just coming to church. You might not understand what it's really like to have the adversary oppose you. But just coming to church, the devil don't mind if you just come to church and sit in church and shout and make up a nice new dance. But when you make it up in your mind that God has a purpose for you and you begin to go out and reach souls and you begin to do kingdom work, you'll find that every hellhound begins to be loose and come at you, and you'll find that every enemy begins to rear their head, and you'll find that the enemy tries everything to stop you because you have a mission. Is there anybody in this place that has a mission for God? I'm not talking about just church folk, but I'm talking about somebody that comes to church because they know God is ordering their steps. When you know God is ordering your steps, you know you're going to have to leap over some walls. And you're going to have to run through some troops. It ain't going to be the yellow brick road. You ain't just going to skip along, and opposition and trouble ain't going to happen in your life. And if the devil ain't messing with you, I just want to encourage you to ask yourself what's going on, because if the devil is not messing with you, he is not seeing some purpose somewhere in your life. But if the enemy wants to mess with you, you better believe you got some purpose. It may be untapped potential. It may be some things in your future, but the devil knows how to block you before you get to your destiny. The devil knows how to look at the potential that you have on the inside and try to stop you before you can even realize that you have something on the inside. Do you not know there are some folk that in this room right now that has a king on the inside of them, but because they feel like a pawn, they never will experience kingship. I wish I had some witnesses. You're going to stop holding me in a few more moments. I'm going to break it loose. Because you got to know how to bring the wood and keep on building the fire. Because it's the fire that's going to make your enemies realize that, hey, I can't mess with this fire. That's why if you go to a church that don't have any fire, you'll find a whole lot of junk and a whole lot of foolishness. But when the Holy Ghost fire begins to move inside a sanctuary, even the enemy got to run from where they are. I got some good witnesses in here. Try to hold me if you want to. I ain't got started good. Acts 28. Look at 27. Now watch. I want to bring you up. I like backing into things. You know, I'm one of those secular hermeneutics type preacher. I like to back into the text. I like to come from a different angle.